down, came up, God made a way. Stayed down, came up, God made a way. Stayed down, came up.
What's up, you guys? Thanks again for watching the Gracefully Outspoken podcast, where your host is B.Shaymae. If you are looking for a podcast that's going to uplift you on today, make sure that you like and follow me on Instagram at Gracefully Outspoken Podcast, as well as Instagram B.Shaymae. You can also follow me on YouTube at Gracefully Outspoken. All right, guys, so we are going to dive into my testimony and getting to know who I am. But you guys, you gotta get excited just like I am, because I'm telling you, I am so excited because this is the very first episode of the podcast. So you guys, as I go into a story of telling you my background and what things that I did in life, I just thank God for it all. It got me to this point where now I can actually do the purpose that God has for my life. So you guys that do not know me, my name is B.Shaymae. I am at the age of 33. I was born in Palm Beach, Florida. My mother had me in Florida. My mom and dad, they did work there for some time after they had me. My dad, he was a Patriot chef. Shout out to him, Patrick Brown. My mom, Carrie Brown. She was working at Walmart at the time, up until the time that she had me. So you guys, some things had fell back here in Rayford. My grandmother became sick, so it allowed my parents and myself to move back to North Carolina. So my parents, at the time, my dad, he wanted to stay in Florida, but my mom, she was like, if God is sending us back to North Carolina, we got to do whatever it takes so that we can get back to North Carolina. So you guys, to fast forward about that, I was raised, pretty much NC raised me, you guys. I was raised in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I went to high school there, elementary, everything, you guys. I love Southern Pines because it raised me. So I'm just being honest. So those that don't know, I was raised in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I did graduate from Pinecrest High School, class of 2010, yes, where all my good friends were at. But yes, you guys, I enjoyed my time at Southern Pines. I stayed there for about pretty much all my life. I think I left around the age of, really now, because I moved to Charlotte. Just to fast forward, you guys, I did move to Charlotte. I lived up there with my brother. I worked at Amazon. That was a good job. I loved Amazon. But y'all, let's piggyback down memory lane. So right now, I'm going to go back all the way back. When I say we taking it back, we taking it all the way back, you guys. So after I finished high school, I worked at Walmart. But before I got that job at Walmart, you guys, I did work at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's for about a year and a half. This was before I had conceived my son, Canary Brown. Yes, you guys, but I loved it at McDonald's. I met so many new people, from managers. They were great. You guys, it was a job, so I was happy, coming straight out of high school with a job, make sure that I had income, to take care of the little things that I needed as a young adult. So after I left McDonald's, I stayed there. My mom, she helped me get on at Walmart. Shout out to her. Actually, me and my brother Marquise, we worked at Walmart. Thank God for my mom. She put in a good word for us to get our job there at Walmart. So guys, as I was working in retail, which is Walmart, I was a cashier. I loved it. I met so many new people. Those that know me, that know B.Shaymae, she is very friendly. She do not meet a stranger. My family will tell you, Brittany do not meet no stranger. She would talk to any and everybody. So guys, I felt like it was the perfect job for me during that time, growing up. I love, being with the public. I didn't mind talking to people. I didn't mind selling things. Y'all, I just had it in me. But I worked at Walmart, McDonald's, and Bojangles. So at the time, after I had left Bojangles, you guys, let's piggyback to Bojangles. I worked at Bojangles at the age of 21. Right after I had left Bojangles, I conceived my son, Canary. Yes, he was conceived. So he was conceived pretty much as I stepped foot. After I left Bojangles, he was conceived when I started my job at Walmart. Was I scared? Yes, I was scared because, guys, I was only 21 at the time. And I know some people are like, well, dang, that ain't that young, girl. Like, you was, an adult. So, but it was still scary for me because I knew that I was still in my mama's household. So y'all know how that is. You living with your parents and you just like, man, how am I going to spill the beans and tell my mama that I am pregnant with a child? So to fast forward through that, I was pregnant, working at Walmart. I enjoyed the job. After I left Walmart, you guys, I conceived my son that I told y'all. I got an apartment. I thank God for that. But after, I had left Walmart, I got pregnant. I ended up applying for this school that I seen that was in Aberdeen, and it was Sand Hills Dental Career Center, you guys. It was a school where you could get certified to become a dental assistant. So who didn't jump on it? Your girl B.Shaymae did. I jumped on it because I knew that this could be a career that could help not only me and my son. So just to piggy up, guys, when I left Walmart, I did do some other side jobs. I went back to fast food. And after I left fast food, I had my apartment. After I left my apartment, I went to St. Hills in a Career Center, as we have spoken and said. But I went there after I left St. Hills in a Career Center. I got certified in June of 2016. Y'all, that was the best year of my life because I felt like, okay, God, I landed this job. I know that this is going to be good for me and my son. I had an apartment, so I had to make sure that rent was being paid. My son was being taken care of. He was at 2 years old at the time. His dad had stepped in and helped me because the school is what was good about the school, you guys, is I was going there at the school. It was hands-on training. But one thing about the school, you guys, it was for weekends only. And that was perfect for me because during the week, it was a busy thing. I was still hustling, you guys, doing little every other side hustle things like selling clothes and doing other things. So I was like, man, this it's only gonna be on Saturdays. Why not take it? So it was Saturdays that I had to go in and be in school. I think I went in the morning around 9 o'clock. So it worked out perfect. So guys, as I graduated, I started applying for jobs in the dental school field. It was hard, y'all. When I say I graduated, I applied for jobs, I got rejected every single job that I applied for. Depression, it started to sit in my mind because I was like, God, is this really what you want for me to do in life? If I can't land this job, God, what do you want me to do in life? So I just kept hustling, selling clothes. Man, I've been selling clothes since Kanari was 2 years old. My son is now 10 years old. He will be 11 on July the 7th, so which is coming up this Sunday. But I just thank God, even though I didn't land a job in that field yet, you guys, I still trust God. I know that He is able to continue to bless me. So I was discouraged, you guys. I kept applying for jobs to this age now that I'm at 33. I kept applying for the jobs. I didn't give up because I got rejected. But I just thank God because sometimes, as we're going through things in life, even though that we don't land the job that we truly want to have, we still got to give thanks to God because we have to understand, even if He don't allow us to step foot or to land that job, we need to truly understand, you guys, that this could just be another page in my story of my life. Maybe God didn't want me to land that job. Maybe God just wanted me to have an accomplishment under my belt because when I got out of high school, guys, I did not go to college. I wanted to work. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, you guys. Ever since I was a child, I always saw myself being with the public, working with the public, selling things, teaching other people how to sell things. So it always been a field in my life that I always wanted to do. So even though I didn't get that dental assistant job and I still have not landed to this year, I thank God because that's an accomplishment that I can be proud for, that God has allowed me to be proud for. So you guys, after I left dental assistant school, I kept applying for jobs. Even though I got rejected, I continued to trust God, because it was hard. I'm going to be honest. I got so discouraged. I started crying like, God, I know there's more for me. So to piggyback on what I had said earlier about Amazon, I had found the job online. Before I went to Amazon, you guys, I went to retail. So thank God I had that experience in retail because it gave me the opportunity and the ability to go back into retail. So at the moment, I had put that to the side. I said, okay, God, I'm not going to give up. But, I still had to make money because I had bills. So that's when, to pick you up, I started, working again back in the retail. I had went back to retail, working in grocery stores. I started at Lowe's Food first before I actually went to Amazon. So you guys, that was good, but it was still minimum wage. I was like, God, this can't be it. This cannot be it, y'all. Sometimes you be like, man, it's not mathing. It's not doing what it needs to do to help provide for my son. So I left Lowe's Food, you guys. I went to Amazon. After I went to Amazon, I worked up there for almost just about 2 years, you guys. I stayed with my brother. The first time that I went, I didn't stay with my brother. I was still living with my mom. I had drove two. When I say your girl was determined, I was determined, y'all. I drove 2 hours every day to Amazon. Now you can't tell me that's not motivation. And I know sometimes I know y'all thinking like, is you crazy? But no, I wasn't crazy, y'all. I was determined. People may say, dang, why she traveling 2 hours just for a job? But sometimes y'all really don't understand. When you can't find a job in the city that you live in that's paying you more than minimum wage, sometimes you gotta leave out of that city and find you a job that's gonna pay more. So I began to, find a job that was suitable for my needs and my son's needs. It was a great job. Amazon paid me $15 an hour. So who didn't jump on it? I jumped on it because I knew that that was more than what I have ever made in my whole entire life, y'all. I'm going to be honest. Out of all the jobs I had, $15 an hour was the best job I ever had. So I felt like, man, like, why quit this job? God gonna provide. If I had to put miles on my car, I know God will provide. So y'all, I was at the time when I first started, I was driving back and forth 2 hours. And I said, man, this driving 2 hours every day is getting to me. So I spoke with my brother Marquis. Shout out to him. God, thank him. Thank you for my brother Marquise, but he was so helpful during this time of me transitioning jobs, you guys, to this great job of working $15 an hour. I thank my brother Marquise because it allowed me to stay with him at his apartment in Charlotte, North Carolina. I thank God for the job. It was a warehouse job, so it's pretty much, if those that did not know, if you work at a warehouse job, you got to wear certain things, you got to wear certain boots. So I learned a lot at Amazon. I worked at the sorting location. COT5 was the one that I worked at, and I learned so much, you guys. I became a water spider. Those that don't know what a water spider is, it's a person who takes things and they wrap it around on a pallet. So I learned how to work a pallet jack. I was happy. I was excited. Even though, I was driving 2 hours before I moved in with my brother, I just thank God for the opportunity because I was finally making the money that I needed to provide for my son. So I thank God for that. And we just gonna fast forward, after I left working at Amazon, you guys, my son, he was in school at the time. So I got a shout out to my mom, y'all. My mom, when I say she helped me in this transition, she knew it was hard for me to get a job in the dental field. So my mom stepped in. She helped me with my son. She made sure that he got to school on time. Shout out to Carrie. Those that know her as Niecy. But yeah, shout out to my mom, you guys. We have to give our parents our flowers while they are here because when we feel like, we don't know what else to do, we know that, our kids got to be still taken care of. They got to get to school. Shout out to your parents or anyone that's helping you to make things happen in life. So shout out to my mom and my brother Marquise for helping me in that time and transitioning, working. I had worked there. I worked at New York and Company when I was in Charlotte before I had got Amazon, because those that do not know, that whole entire company went bankrupt. And y'all, I was so devastated. I'm going to be honest. I was devastated because I met so many new people. Miss Rhonda Bush. Shout out to her, Miss Blade Bush. I met Evie's. I met so many people. Bill, he was the store manager at the time. Shout out to him. Everybody from Valentine, North Carolina. I love you guys. I miss you guys. But yes, you guys, like I really thank God for all the opportunities and jobs that I had in my life. No matter what job I had, I went on with my face happy, even though I was determined to not give up in that dental field. I thank God. So sometimes, you guys, we have to thank God no matter if we don't land a job. We have to continue to press. We have to continue to pray. We have to continue to not give up on our dream. Because sometimes, sometimes we got to continue to work that job to get the funds we need. And people don't understand, like, to be honest with you, when I became an entrepreneur, I knew that before I started, people don't understand, I started from nothing, you guys. When I first became an entrepreneur, I was busting orders out my mama apartment in Southern Pines. Even in my own apartment, I had started thinking, okay, there was ways. Like when I had my apartment in Highlands, which is in Southern Pines, I was still doing whatever it takes. I was working a job, doing orders. I made tutus, you guys, for little girls. I made t-shirts. I started out doing the t-shirt thing. It was cool, but I was like, man, do I really want to continue to do this? But I did whatever it took. Hustling was not a problem for me, or it was an option, because I thank God for everything that He had helped me with. Because regardless, I loved it. But sometimes we got to understand, even though we love things in life, we got to consult God. No matter what we do, we got to consult God. And I just kept working, you guys. I kept being an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurship back at my mom's house again. So we're gonna fast forward. I started my business name B.Shaymae Fashion Collection. It was online. I thank God for all the orders I ever had. I thank God for the pastors and ministers that have, ministered to me to keep going in business, because y'all don't understand. Business is hard. It is not easy. Being an entrepreneur in itself is not easy. It's times where, you have dry season, when orders are not coming through. You're trying to figure out, okay, God, it's something else that I want to release, but your finances are not really there. So sometimes you got to step back, guys. You got to go back to the drawing board, pray about it. If you are a writer, continue to write your goals. Those that know me, anybody will tell you, I love to write. And writing has helped me so much on my journey. Whether it's writing down the grocery list, you guys. Let's get as low as the grocery list, because we all know that we need those. As low as writing out my careers, as low as making a vision board for things that I want to accomplish. I'm a writer. I love to write. I love to set goals. So that's what also helped me, as being in the 9 to 5 and now in entrepreneurship. Even when it comes down to writing down my content, I'm always writing out. I'm planning, what is it that I want to say? I pray about it first. Hey, God, is this what you want me to do? Pray about it. But y'all, that get a journal. Those that are listening, whether you listening on YouTube, are you listening in on Spotify today, get you a journal. I'm telling you, journaling and goal writing and goal setting has helped me so much in life, from the time of coming out of school to now being in entrepreneurship position. I just thank God for it. It has been a blessing, y'all. All the trials and tribulations, no matter how many mistakes that I have made in life, I really, truly thank God for it all. People don't understand, it was times where I had lost my job, didn't have a job for 6 months, but God still provided for me. He made ways for me. So don't give up. If you on here listening today, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, just don't give up, you guys. No matter what you're going through in life, if you ain't landing a job in a year, still give thanks to God. Do whatever it takes. Pray. One thing I had to do about it in life was pray. I had to ask God, like, God, what is truly the purpose that you have for my life? No matter what job I step foot in, God, is this my purpose? God, how long you want me to be on this job? I always ask God those questions, because sometimes you really want to get down to the bottom. Like, God, do you want me to be on this job for the rest of my life? You got to really ask God. You got to really talk to God. And I want to encourage somebody, learn to talk to Him. Not saying go to Him in a harmful way, but really talk to God. He is the one, he's listening when we think that he's not listening, y'all. He is truly listening. And we have to give honor to him. No matter what job we have to get honor to him. Learn to pray in the morning. Before, when I was working in my 9 to 5 field, I always pray with my kids, which is my son. I'm talking about kids like I got two, but y'all, I always pray with my son no matter what. And I pray to this day. That's one thing that I can say that my mother has taught me. She has taught me how to pray. She has taught my brother how to pray. If we don't know how to do nothing else, when life seems unbearable, one thing my mama taught us is how to pray. Pray. Learn to forgive. Me and my mom, we talked about that too. Learning to forgive. Even when people hurt you in life, whether it's on your job, where you feel like, people are up against me, like, why I can't land this job? God, am I cursed? Sometimes you ask yourself that, like, dang, I can't even get a job I went to school for. Even when I went to St. Hills in a career center, I paid my own tuition, y'all. I was upset. I'm going to be honest. I was upset when I didn't get the job. I kept applying like, God, what's going on? But sometimes you got to really think like, God, I know you have a plan for me. As it says in Jeremiah 29:11, God, he knows the plans that he has for us. He knows the plans to not forsake us. We have to understand that he will never leave us and he will never forsake us. He said that he will make all things well. So we have to believe that on today, you guys. No matter what we're going through and facing in life, just trust God. If I don't tell y'all nothing else about my testimony, please trust God. Trust the process. It may seem ugly when you first start out, coming out of high school, for all the high schools that may be listening, or if you just coming out of college, you don't know which road to take. You getting frustrated because you're doing whatever that you think that you need to do. But sometimes we got to step back and think like, okay, God, you let me make it through school. Now what do you want me to do? Like sometimes you got to really like ask yourself that, Lord, today, what is my purpose? What do you have for me? Do you want me to continue what you have me on? Or God, you order my steps. One thing we got to say, God, order our steps so that we will make the right decisions and not the wrong decisions. And we have to understand, like, don't beat yourself up. Learn to forgive yourself for not thinking that you can achieve. I had to learn that the hard way. Sometimes we got to give ourselves time to heal when we done went through all the trials and tribulations of our life. But we cannot give up because our kids, they need us, our family need us, our friends need us. We can't give up on life. It was times, when I didn't get those jobs that I wanted, suicidal thoughts began to seep in my mind. I wanted to give up on myself. But I said, the devil will not have me. And you have to declare that to yourself on today. Don't allow the devil to corrupt your mind to think that you cannot achieve. Because God said that we can do all things through him if only we believe. So believe on today. But yes, you guys, I just had to get that out there because y'all, I'm telling you, like, it's so many things that I have encountered myself with. And I had to put God first. If God is not in it, it may work for a time, but I'm telling you, God, he'll snatch that thing right from you. And he'll say, no, now I'm going to make you seek only me and only me. So we have to understand, like what's on your table? If you look at back over your life, as I'm telling y'all my testimony, but what about yours? What is on your table? As I have already said in one of my content creations, like seriously, like God made me think, like, Brittany, what is on your table? Is your job getting in the way of me? Is your entrepreneurship getting in the way of me? Is you sometimes your relationships our relationships can sometimes get in the way of God. Sometimes family can get in the way of God if we put those things before him. And we have to understand that putting idols before him, it will never work. We may think that it works, but it will never work. If we don't give time for God, I'm telling you, he will shut everything down just so that he can get our attention. And he had to do that for me plenty of times. When I got upset because I didn't get the job that I wanted, he shut everything down. So now all I had to do was trust in him. I didn't have nobody else to trust in. All I had to do was trust in God. So sometimes, you guys, you got to trust in God no matter what. And I just want to say, those that are watching, don't give up. If you feel like your dream has not been fulfilled, continue to trust God. Trust God through the process. Sometimes we don't understand, if we want to be an entrepreneur, we got to think about all those things that we have to go through to get to that obstacle in our life. We have to really understand that because God can give us a vision that we're going to open up a boutique store, but we have to understand what is it going to take for us to get to that boutique store. It may be some hurdles in that path, or it may be some hurdles in your life that you may have to take in order to get to your outcome. So don't quit. You ain't made it to the finish line yet. You got to keep going. I'm telling you, you got to keep going. Keep pushing. But yes, you guys, those that did not know, I did do t-shirts, as I was saying earlier, just to get back to the story of my testimony and y'all getting to know me, excuse me. But yes, you guys, I did sell jewelry. I sell t-shirts, handbags. I was determined, you guys. I thank God for everything that he has allowed me to do in life. And I know that one day I was at Old Navy, you guys. So I worked at Old Navy, Lowe's Food, Walmart, Amazon. I even had the opportunity, you guys. But before we get into that, let's talk about Old Navy because I did so much at Old Navy. I met so many new people at Old Navy, y'all. It was the best time of my life. I learned so much. I learned how to get O&Cs. And those that did not ever work at Old Navy, you had to get O&Cs, which is credit cards. Also, just being able to engage with customers. I loved it. I learned how to do online orders, which I had already learned that as well, because I used to ship out things in my entrepreneurship field. So I had left Old Navy because I just felt like the math wasn't mathing, y'all. I ain't gonna say I wanted more funds, but I knew that God had something else in store for me. So there was an opportunity, you guys, that had came up in my career of working in 9 to 5, and it was Route 21. You guys, I worked at Route 21 and I loved it. Shout out to Kenny Casey. He was the store manager at the time at 301 Route 21 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I thank God for that opportunity because it allowed me to be assistant manager. So for those that did not know, I did have the opportunity in my 9 to 5 story to actually be an assistant manager, you guys. I did so much. I was able to interview people. I was able to do DOR paperwork. For those that don't know, that's a lot of things that you have to do paperwork when it comes to being a manager, from counting the cash register tills, opening and closing the store, working the holiday season. It was a blast. I enjoyed it. A lot of us are not there no more because now Kenny, he's also an entrepreneur. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Lisa. She's doing her own thing, getting her stuff together. But y'all, that was the best team that I had. Even at Old Navy, that was the best team. I learned so much. Shout out to Miss Yan, Miss Christina, Miss Kim. I thank God for the opportunity. But guys, I just knew that there had to be more. I thank God for allowing Old Navy to even take me back, the second time after I had left, to fulfill the job as an assistant manager at Route 21. But y'all, I remember in January, I had just started thinking like, God, there has to be more. I done did all these things in life. You allow me to do all these things. God, is this truly what you have for me? So after I left, Old Navy again, it was January. So y'all, to be honest with y'all, I left there January 07, 2024 this year. And I knew when God spoke to me and told me that my, job searching was coming to an end, I did not know what to do. I'm going to be honest. Because when you hear the voice of God and God is telling you that your time is up in that field, you get discouraged because one, okay, God, if you allow me to quit that, I pray that this business thing works. So your mind start wondering. You start thinking like, dang, like, is this really what God has for me? But I'm telling y'all, whatever God tells you to do, please obey. Don't be stubborn about it. If he tell you that it's time for you to leave your job, make sure that you pray about it and you make sure that you're hearing the right voice, because I'm telling you, you'll know if it's the enemy or you'll know if it's God. But I knew at that time that God was telling me that it was time for me to end my 9 to 5 because it was so many signs. And that's another thing, you guys. When God is showing you something in life, he will give you signs. so many signs will come up, whether it's a person on the street that gives you an encouraging word, whether it's your leader, your pastor that tells you like, okay, like that ain't what God has for you. This is what God has for you. So y'all have to understand, like, that's another thing. If you want to know truly, God will always confirm his word. When he tells you something, it will always be confirmed. And if it's not of God, it's not going to be confirmed. I had to learn that, dealing with the prophetic, that, when you hearing from God, you got to really truly know that it's God. You can't just be out here prophesying to people and not really truly hearing from God. And there's so many people that we so worried about the calling that we have in our life, and we don't really ask God, like, okay, God, because sometimes we move too fast. We think that just because we got a gift or we got a mantle, that we can just be out here spewing on everybody else. But we can't. We have to sit back and, just allow God to truly work in our lives. But I'm telling y'all, when God tell y'all something, he would definitely send signs. And on today, y'all, he has sent so many signs. Even when it comes to, letting go of my business, B.Shaymae fashion collection, as I has already told y'all before when we was chatting it up about it. But y'all, he allowed me to, he removed that too. And sometimes God, he will remove things out of our life I ain't gonna say when we spend too much time on them, but sometimes we don't understand. We can be hustling so much in life and doing what we love to do that we forget about God. And I'm not saying that I forgot about God in the time of me being an entrepreneur, but I really wasn't. I ain't gonna say I wasn't putting him first, but in a way, it kind of feels like we're not putting God first because we're so busy to hustling. We so busy for chasing after that dollar. And believe me, God wants us to, be wealthy, but we have to still give God some time. So when God told me, like, hey, look, it's time to do things for ministry, I was like, Lord, I wanted to, y'all don't understand. Like, I was so discouraged because at the time I was about to rebrand my business. I kept quiet. I was selling stuff like LV earrings, all the, fashion stuff. I was at the time, I hadn't got invited to another vendor's event. I was about to order stuff for that vendor's event. But when God said no, I had to obey. And it hurted because I'm like, man, like I done already told, Pastor D, shout out to her. For those that do not know, if you are in the city of Fayetteville, make sure that you guys pay your ticket and go to the women conference. That was the very first vendors event that I had, you guys, in my whole entire life. I thank God for Pastor D. She is the pastor of Force Life in Fayetteville. But yes, you guys, like, I just really thank God. Like, she encouraged me too on my journey. She was like, are you going to be able to come this year? And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to come this year because I knew I was going to be out of time. I was going to be out of town. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, I was going to be out of town. But I just thank God for all the opportunities that he has ever gave me. But if you out there today, you guys, just to piggyback on, I had left my job in January. And for those that do not know, I am currently not working. I'm doing content full time. I'm on YouTube. Now God has allowed me to, do this platform with podcasts. So it's just a blessing. But one thing I want to leave with y'all before, we go until we meet again on the next episode, I wanted to encourage you guys that God's plan is the best plan for our lives. Oftentimes we continue to chase our dreams and we get so far away that we don't want to let things go. But if God leads you to let things go in your life, do it. God will always confirm his voice and his answer to you. One day I was sitting on my bed and, as I was telling y'all, I had asked God, like I cried out to him, like, God, what is it that you want me to do? And he gave me the name Gracefully Outspoken. So with that being said, that is what I am now doing full time, you guys. I'm going ahead and doing what God has allowed me to do. I know that now I am truly walking and working. All right, God, I'm working and walking in the true purpose that he has for me. So I want you guys to be encouraged on today. I hope that my testimony and just a back end, just so you guys can get to know who I am. I am now 33. I am a mom, but I am now full-time in entrepreneurship, content, YouTuber, podcaster, whatever you want to call it. Your girl is now doing things of ministry. I'm glad that I answered to God's call. I'm glad that I'm now doing things in ministry and doing things in the purpose that God has for me. But I want y'all to be encouraged today. Don't give up. I hope this testimony has touched every person and every life on today. So just continue to reach for your goals. No matter what happens in life, if you don't land the job, trust God. If you don't get the things that you truly desire to have, trust God. Because one thing we have to understand, y'all, God will never give us something and add sorrow. God is not a person that will bless us with mess. So that's something that my mom always said. God, he don't bless no mess. So just know that if it didn't work out, he has something else greater in store for you. But if you guys are listening, make sure that you like and share this podcast on today. Share it with a friend so that it can help uplift somebody else to know that they don't have to give up just because it didn't work. Y'all follow me on Instagram at B.Shaymae for my personal page. Also follow me on Gracefully Outspoken on Instagram. I am also on YouTube platform. You can search Gracefully Outspoken, TikTok B.Shaymae, and your girl B.Shaymae is so happy to what God has did. I hope you guys will continue to enjoy the journey. I will have some special guests coming soon. So y'all just give me a hand clap and give God a hand clap because I'm so excited. I'm definitely going to have a lot of other entrepreneurs on here as I interview them and get to so they can share their story with you. But y'all be encouraged and y'all stay tuned. I won't see y'all again until the next episode. I love you guys. Y'all be encouraged on today. Pray and just give thanks for everything, no matter good or bad. Know that your story isn't done yet. I love you guys. And until next time, I'll see you on the next episode.